Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. So, the reading for today, or the message for today, I just go right into the message, just so you know. I don't like to waste anyone's time, and I'm not here to present to you anything other than just provide you the message as Spirit shares with me. And I do want to say that for those that don't know what I do, because I do not make a habit to explain myself on my channel. My messages are for the collective that understands that we live in a world that is dualistic, that we live in a world that we experience a spiritual world and our physical reality. And if you solely base your understanding on the physical reality and you're aware of the spiritual, but you cannot explain it, or you don't pay attention to it in some ways, then it's going to manifest as in you feeling very disoriented or very out of place or very confused in terms of what you're experiencing in reality, what you're experiencing in your physical body as it is associated to your spiritual experience. So anyway, I don't think that really explained much about my channel. I just receive messages as they come to me, as I tune into Spirit, and I share that information with the collective. The reason I do so, the reason I share my spiritual messages, and I feel it's important to do so, is because I do see that there are individuals that a lot of their instability, or a lot of their emotional pain, or a lot of their confusion in terms of what to do, or having a purpose, or how to respond to life and events in life, if they had a understanding of who they are, or of how they're already equipped to deal with it, they just have a reference or frame issue. In other words, they're looking at the world in a way that is not whole, or that is not complete in a way that can help them organize themselves and be at peace with their life, with themselves, and have a fulfilling life experience, not one that is challenged by patterns and repeated emotional traumas that manifest in personalities that are dimmed completely or are stifled due to mental programs that don't work or that are outdated in some ways. So, another reason that I wanted to share my message today is because yesterday, I did notice technical difficulties with my message. And it went along with what I was talking about with boundaries and respecting people's things and spaces. My computer was borrowed overnight and then put back. But had it not been borrowed without my permission, I would have known to check my microphone settings, because whenever it's disconnected, it resets or it defaults to original settings. And anyway, my audio wasn't as clear as it could have been because of people interfering with my things. So I do want to say that one thing I've learned in this recent cycle has been that communication, for sure, has played a big role in my life as to when you don't realize or when you're not aware that what you have to say is more relevant than you give credit for. In other words, you may think that whatever you have to say, or that whatever you think about, or that whatever questions you have are useless or meaningless. But that's if your experience has been that whenever you do share, or whenever you do express, or whenever you do say something, how it's handled or dismissed or treated or criticized or judged or scolded or manipulated or whatever it is, you'd be surprised at how people will respond. And so anyway, I got lost a little bit on that. Why did I get lost on that? Oh, because what I wanted to say about that is that I realized that, you see, I can be very ditzy. Like, I do get lost in thought sometimes, but it doesn't mean that what I'm saying is meaningless or useless or doesn't have a point. It might be distracted. It might come across as incomplete. But then, whose job is it to make it complete? Well, it's my job to share my message as efficient as I can. But it's the listener that's interested in understanding, or that is being challenged. For example, what is to be challenged is that when somebody says something and in your mind you want to argue it, or you want to question it, or you want to go a little deeper. So it couldn't be either way. Like, if you're defensive about what someone says, that right there is a teachable moment for you to be like, why am I so triggered by this in a negative way? Or it could be a teachable moment when it intrigues you and it pulls you in, and it makes you unravel a little bit of yourself. And when you unravel a little bit of yourself, you may come to a crossroads where you're like, but wait, what does this, and you can't really answer it, and then you're looking at that person like, wait, what you just said was making sense, but right here I'm stumped. Now it's up to you to ask that person, explain what you just said, explain that part. Can you make that part more clear? And it's not a conflict. It's not, I'm not listening to you. It's not, I'm stupid, I don't understand you. Because that's the response a lot of people will have when someone is that curious about them, or when someone is that interested in understanding them. If you're a person that is not aware of yourself, or you're the type of person that when light is shed on you, when attention is put on you, do you run and hide? Do you feel ashamed? Do you feel embarrassed? Do you feel scared? Do you feel like, if I was to throw you on a stage right now, completely, like pull you out of your shower right now, and then say, spotlight's on you? In that moment, your response would be how you feel in life about yourself, about being exposed. So if you're like, oh, hey guys, welcome, enjoy the party, you know what I mean? Or you start dancing around and being a clown, it has like a effect that says, it is what it is. Take it as it is. I'm not ashamed of who I am. But if you're uncomfortable, there's the door. You're not forced to be here and watch me, you see? And in that same way, if someone was to be like, embarrassed, hide, run, close the curtain, run in a hurry, fall on the floor, trip and hit their head, like anything can occur to the point that you're like, And then the audience is intrigued, or they get a reaction of laughter, or they get a reaction of judgment, or they get a laughter of, what is it? Haggling or heckling. I don't know what the word is. Heckling. That kind of stuff. That happens in your real life, which is why I think comedians are so bold and comedians are so special, because they put themselves out there to express themselves in a way that is up to be challenged, that is up to be questioned, that is up to be mocked at or understood in a different way. For those that have the ears to hear, the eyes to see, are going to see and hear the truth. And it's going to resonate, and it's going to feel, you see me, or there you are. I knew that I could be seen as a person, like in equal grounds. In our humanity, we are all the same. In our humanity, we are all the same. It's in our way of being humans that we're not. I guess that's all. So, geez, I know I get sidetracked, but I'd rather put it out with all of my sidetrack moments, what I have to say, than to not say it at all. Because for myself, it's a benefit to speak, because our words do change our reality. When we are willing to speak our minds, when we are willing to stand in our truth, when we are willing to say, this is who I am, by what I express, that's who we experience, or that's what we receive, or that's what we project out there, and that's what comes back, however you put that. Anyways, so I did have these notes, but these are from yesterday, and I guess the reason I even brought them out is, that's what I wanted to talk about, is if my, let's say if I was in a lecture room and somebody scheduled a time for me to speak, and there was a specific audience that was brought to me, and a certain lecture that I was going to speak on, it would almost feel shortchanged, because it's confining in every way. Which is why this platform to me is the most effective in terms of, because you're able to just put out there whatever it is, and then whoever resonates with whatever can and tune in. So the moment you confine it and say, this is what I do, this is what I'm about, this is what I am, this is who I, say I am, I guess you could put it that way too. But it's like, whatever it is that you put out there, however full that is however much fulfillment I guess you receive from that. So I noticed that if you have a purpose to express a message, and you're challenged by that, the things that we're challenged by are probably the things that lead to us fulfilling our purpose. So if my purpose is to communicate, and it was perfectly easy for me to communicate, then guess what? Communication is probably now my purpose. I don't think your purpose is the things you're great at. The things you're great at are probably just the things that are innate to you, and you can make a purpose out of that. But the things that like a soul purpose is going to be the things that grow you. And the way that you grow are not by doing what's always come easy, and it's not by doing what's always been unchallenged. It's by being challenged yourself, whether you challenge yourself or the world challenges you. Wherever you're feeling or being challenged is your opportunity to grow. It's not the place for you to run and hide. It's not the place for you to be like, oh, this hurts, I can't do it. No, that's the moment to look at that differently. That's the moment to figure that out. That's the moment to go into that in such a way that you can, because the only thing permanent is that everything changes, right? And that's a great thing. We want things to change. Do we want a dead end to always be a dead end? No. Do we want a stop to always be a stop? No. There's a place and a time, but there's also when the pain of not, that's what they say, when the pain of not changing is bigger, then the change is necessary. So that's how everything heals. You come across some challenge in your health, or you come across some challenge in a relationship, or you come across some challenge in your ability, or you come across a challenge in your character. That challenge, look at it like if your life was, I know it's gonna feel like, why would I want my life to feel like it's boot camp? But that's kind of like what life feels like in a way, if you're the type of person that wants to grow. Life is a sort of boot camp where you are being trained and you are being exposed to your weaknesses and you are being exposed to your gifts and your greatness. But you won't know how great you can be without overcoming all the things that you were afraid of, or without challenging yourself to see things in a way that until you feel at peace with it. And then until you're at peace with it, it'll never bring peace to another. So trying to force another to feel peace, or trying to change another person to be at peace so that when they're at peace with themselves, they'll be at peace with you, it doesn't work like that. You can't go from the outside in. You have to go from the inside out. And I think it's always been that way. I just think some people have an easier way of doing that, and other people have a more challenging way to do that. When it's time to change, when it's time to exert oneself more, some may want to shy away, but that's the challenge. Or when it's time to shy away and be dim, because there's a time for quiet and solitude and darkness. Some that need to be in the limelight, that need to be out there, that need to be seen a certain way, can't live without the attention. And that there is a challenge to deal with. So, I don't know. I guess that's everything about that. But I wanted to mention, I always come back, I wanted to mention, I had to freaking, like when you have something, like you're inspired in the moment, this idea comes through, and it's like you don't want to forget it. So you're going to record it, or you're going to write it down, or you're going to tell someone, or you're going to put something in place right then and there so that you can add to it later. So you don't want to lose the inspiration or the moment and that kind of happens to me every time I want to come out here and share my message is when I'm most challenged somehow, whether it's the audio, whether it's the technology, whether it's having the materials in the moment. before the inspiration fades, so to speak. And no matter how much you try to set things in place, plan ahead, and get things in order, when opposing forces, remember, equal and opposite reaction, it's always going to seek to challenge you. So the challenge is always going to probably feel bigger, but your ability to handle it is greater. So always being, I guess, a step ahead in not letting it challenge you any longer, or being able to say, you know what? Oh, I can't write it down. I can't memorize it. I can't say it right now. The message cannot be conveyed right now, so therefore it gets lost. So therefore, if it's lost, it can't be used, or it can't be meaningful. Well, no, it doesn't. Right now, to you, I might be rambling. If you're waiting for me to do a reading, or you're waiting for me to answer your questions that you have within yourself. Because why else would you watch a channel called Mystic's Vision unless you're being informed about the mystical nature of life? And I'm sharing my vision. And my vision is what I'm talking about. Even if it seems that it's my personal experience, it's the questions, or it's the challenges, or it's the experiences that I've been dealing with leading up to sharing my purpose. So if you were to question, well, how do I find my purpose? Then I answered it. You'll be challenged. Wherever you're challenged, be willing to improve upon, or to work on, or to play with, however you want to phrase it, until you feel good with it, until you feel at ease with it, until you feel comfortable with it, until you feel that it's just right for you. And that could be anything. That could be anything. It could be the foods you eat. It could be the people you interact with. It could be the clothes you wear. It could be how you express yourself. It could be how you interact or allow others into your space. You have to be comfortable with you, and how comfortable are you being you, however you are being you, that the voice of the other doesn't keep you from being how you are. And it's not being how you are in a way that, because if another is challenged by that, remember, there's always room to improve, or room to grow, or room to do better, room to be better. So I could think that my way is not interfering with you at all. I shouldn't be concerned if it pisses you off that I'm rambling. You should just move on and go to another channel. Like, how am I stopping you from moving on? The thing is, when people have a program that makes them think they're obligated, or people have a program that makes them feel that something is forcing them, or that's how people are. You're not responsible for those feelings of others. As long as you're making it clear, you're under no obligation here. It's like you eliminate a lot of delusions of intention, I guess I'm trying to say. Is that all, folks? Oh no, there is something else. So, okay. Now we go into the energies that may be getting sparked. That is people that are that have been triggered recently to grow would have been challenged in any area of their life, okay? A big challenge in an area of your life that has probably done so before, that you've probably beat off with the stick, that you probably threw away and said, no, I'm not dealing with you, or no, I'm not interacting with you, or nope. Like however you've kept the ghost or the demons or the enemy or the bad guy away, or the nemesis or the protagonist, however you have kept them away and have kept yourself comfortable, they came back with a vengeance in a way that really stirred things up for you. And only when things get stirred up for you and you get reactive and you feel all the chemicals inside of you moving around, like you want to react and respond in the same way that you have normally done. At that moment, you can no longer do that, because that thing that caused you to be challenged came with a whole line of all the times this has been. It's like, okay, you have not dealt with it for this long. It's time to really deal with it. It's deal with it, or you're going to find yourself taking a fall, taking a downgrade, or taking some way, shape, or form in your experience. It's going to manifest in you feeling less than, or you feeling like you lost, or you feeling like you failed, or you feeling like bad, or you did something wrong, okay? And it's gonna, that feeling that you were avoiding is only going to feel worse. So you're being challenged to address what makes you feel bad. You're being challenged to address who is really responsible for you feeling bad wherever you feel bad. Who is responsible? And also, what are you believing that makes you feel bad? Because a lot of times when you say, okay, well, that person can only make me feel bad if I let them, so I'm not going to let them make me feel bad. Yes, I feel bad, but I no longer let them. In other words, you put a boundary and say, no, I stop your access to even be able to make me feel bad. That's a power play on your part, saying you can't do this anymore. So you take the adult responsibility to exit that dynamic, because you've accepted either that person cannot stop doing that to you, or that person cannot be different than that, or that person is choosing to not be better than that. So therefore, you can create that boundary and say, no, you don't have access to me. And that's a choice. And you can modify that however is comfortable for you. But then you'll have where you realize, is that person only able to harm me or only able to hurt me? Like once you take that space to yourself, that's when you have to deal with how you believe a circumstance, how you perceive a person, how you perceive a way of being that you say is bad for you or wrong for you or uncomfortable for you. And until you can make peace with you being comfortable with yourself 100%, with how you are, who you are, where you are, what you do, blah, blah, blah. When you can be that comfortable with that, then when you allow another in, however different from you they can be, doesn't affect you. However opposite of you they might be, it won't affect you. It won't challenge you to change, because what their need of your change to be is to make them comfortable. And if you already are aware of who you are, then you won't feel that you have to change. Like if somebody says, I can't love you if you look like this, or I can't love you if you talk like that, or I can't love you if you act like this, you might feel inclined to say like, and obviously people are probably not going to say that way, but it's somehow by criticizing you, why do you always do this, or why do you always say that, or do you have to be like this? Okay, it's possible that these ways are obnoxious or infiltrating with other people's peace, or somehow where it really is a character issue versus just a personal preference of mine. I got a personal preference for you to be quiet, but I don't have a right to tell you be quiet or you can't be here, unless this is my space and you don't know how to be quiet, and I have a preference for quiet and you don't know how to be quiet, and then I can say to you, well then, go to your space please, because my space is quiet right now. It's like people can't have these normal conversations without it being offensive, and it's only offensive when a person hasn't truly sat with their beliefs or their ideals or their preferences. They can't define it without it being a bully tactic, or they can't defend it without it being a bully tactic. And so it's like politics, or even discussing a movie, whether or not a movie, sharing your ideas. Oh, I love this movie. What? You love that movie? That was a piece of shit movie. Oh, no, you're a piece of shit person. You know what? I'll never talk to you again because you watched that movie. I hate people that watch that movie. Bye. Gotta go. Never talk to me again, please. Like, that's how people are like that when it comes to how open they are about how you express yourself. And that explains why a lot of people either don't want to make friends, don't want to communicate, don't want to be in relationships, don't want to interact. Why would you want to interact with people that when you're just being yourself, it becomes like walking on a mine and getting attacked? Now, we've all done this to some extent to one another. The only difference is who's willing to have the hard conversation, who's willing to adjust, who's willing to shift and be better, who's willing to grow from it. Because if you see that someone is actually changing and growing and improving, and it's like basically like, let's say you have a teacher that tells you, you play beautiful music. Now, if I showed you this, you can do what you do. Understanding this, you can make it greater. And if you're a person that's very comfortable with how you are, but also open to suggestion, or also open to allowing others to nourish your gifts or your talents and how you're expressing them or whatever it is, then you're going to go ahead and take on that challenge with grace, and you're going to learn and allow yourself to be taught. And it should be a wonderful thing, because it's coming from that love space. It's coming from that space of, I'm here to nurture you. I'm here to grow you. I'm here to expand you. I'm not here to take from you. I want to help whatever it is that you're doing grow. I want to make that grow as, but I see this from this perspective. That doesn't make me an expert. That just means that I can appreciate what I see in you. I appreciate what I see in you. And I can see it because of my experience, and I haven't seen that in every person, or I haven't seen that in everywhere, and I can see that it's a beautiful thing because of how it makes me feel or how I see it. It's like, wow, that's beautiful. I want to see more of this in the world. I want to see more of this in others. I would love to see more of this, and I would love to feel this with others. And that could be as simple as a dynamic that makes you feel seen, a dynamic with a person that makes you feel loved, a dynamic with a person that doesn't make you feel bad about who you are or how you are. So when you go into the world and that's what you want to give, or that's what you're giving, or that's how you believe love is, and then you find yourself sitting next to someone that never makes you feel that way, that never acknowledges those things, or that isn't inputting that effort into you, then why are you sitting there next to that person? And it would be easy if you can just say, oh, okay, well, I see that you don't want to play with me, or I see that you don't want to talk to me, or I see that you're not interested in me. Let me go play over here. Or I see that the only time you want to play with me is when we're playing with what you want to play with. So it's like, this is bringing me to a story when I was very little. I wasn't even in school yet. I had to be about 4 years old. And my mom used to take me, she had a friend who had a daughter the same age as me, maybe a year younger or so. And we used to play. It was like playmates. And she was blessed with beautiful quality toys, right? That it's like any child, like her room was amazing. She had the perfect Barbie dolls. She had all the paint sets that you can imagine, colorful, like arts and crafts section, and this and that and the other. And to me, it was like walking into like a toy store, like, wow, all these things I get to explore that I watch on TV. I don't have these toys at home. I would love to play with this. I would love to play with that. And she's like, let's play this game. So it's like, okay, I'll play this game because I haven't played this game before. So I played with her that game. Then she wants to play again that game. She wants to play it again, that game. And I'm like, okay, well, we already played 3 times this game. Can we go? Let's play this game now. I want to play this one. No, I don't want to play that game. Well, can I play that game while you play something else then? No, those are mine. You can't play with that. So it's like, oh, okay. So the only options I have is play what you want to play. I can't play with what you got. I don't want to play with what you want to play with. So therefore, okay, fine, I'll leave. So I left the room and I sat next to my mom while my mom was talking with her friend. And the girl starts having a tantrum. And the mom is like, why are you crying? She doesn't want to play with me. My mom is like, well, why don't you want to play with her? I'm like, because I don't want to play what she's playing. We played it 3 times already. I want to play something else. Well, then go play something else. Well, she doesn't want to play something else. Well, then you go play by yourself. Well, I wanted to, but she won't let me play with what she has. So I'm here. I would rather be at home. I would rather be sitting with you, Mom. Or I would rather go home. Because that's where I'm at with this situation. Oh, okay. All right, well, let's go. Time to go. And we leave. And that's how I've lived my life, my whole life, in relationships. It's like, I'm not here to force you to love me. I'm not here to force you to be with me. You came to me. You said, hey, let's be together. Hey, let's establish this connection. Hey, let's be friends. Or, hey, join our company. Or, hey, come here. We want you. Okay, cool. I want to join you. So here I am, la la la. Oh, wait a second. No. All of a sudden, I can't even be what I am, how I am. Okay, then I'll go. And that's where things get weird. When you're like, okay to leave, it's just to even, okay, put it this way. When you're in the situation of, nope, this is a mold you're supposed to be in, to be here, to be with us, to be with me, to be in this company, to be part of this culture, or part of this experience, whatever, to be here. This is a policy of how you're supposed to be. And some will be very direct, and if they were direct, you'd be like, yeah, no, that's not me. I guess I can't be here, so I'll leave. And that would be all. But it's convoluted, or it's not even in writing, or it's not even on the wall, and it's just expected to be understood. And then it's expected to be tolerated. And when you don't fit in, you're going to be punched around, moved around, played with, bothered, manipulated, treated unfairly, however, in all ways, any ways, right? And again, that could be, a partner that says they love you, and then the moment you're something that they don't like, or that the moment that you say something they don't like, instead of understanding you, or instead of wanting to teach you better, if you're being some kind of untamable beast, instead of loving you to grow, they punish you to grow. They chastise you to grow. But then a lot of times where they want you to grow is not even a place for you to grow. They want you to conform it's not about growth. It's about conforming to what they think is right. Conforming to what they think you should do, or how you should do or be. Conforming to how they need you to be for them to be comfortable. So, for example, I could be criticized for how I've raised my children because I'm too lenient, or you give them too much, authority, I guess, of their own life. And I'm like, no, I'm letting them be who they are. But at the same time, I will challenge them and I will correct them when their character is out of order. And if they want to argue about it, then we'll argue about it until they understand. If they want to not listen and not respect, then they're going to learn it the hard way. Why is that different than what I was recently talking about? Because I'm not criticizing them. I'm not forcing them to conform to what I believe is best for me. No, it's what I have to do as a parent to make sure my child is safe. So if my child is doing something that is unsafe for them, and that could also be how you respond to when you're talked to. If you respond with a nasty attitude, or you respond rudely, it's not that, it's because I don't agree with letting you be who you are. It's that your chip on your shoulder, you being rude like that, doesn't make friends, doesn't make nice. And I'm not saying you're supposed to always try to be nice and make friends. What I'm saying is that the chip on your shoulder will instigate a reaction that is not to your benefit. So if you could avoid that by you being with yourself, treat people the way you want to be treated, respectfully, speak, kindly, speak well, be decent, be in integrity with your word and action. It's not hard to do in real life. Respect another. Now, if you find that person is disrespecting you, then you have a right to call them out. But it's like they say, two wrongs don't make a right. So you do your best to check yourself. The problem is when you go above and beyond checking yourself and being sweet with a person that you've already dealt with multiple times, and it's only now become like a vampiric dynamic where you're constantly expressing a boundary, or you're constantly trying to express this is my space, and you don't have to like it, but if you want to do that, you need to do that elsewhere. That's my right, my space to tell you that. But I can do that because I know where I stand. There are people that will claim things that isn't even true. Like, they will claim a space that isn't theirs. They will claim, like, what do you call those people that squat? Is it squawkers or squatters? Somewhere in term that they'll rent your house, and they default on their rent payments, and the contract says you have this amount of time to leave the home, and then they don't leave. But it's like, they don't just not leave. They claim it, like, no, this is mine. And they find all the tactics to stay in a place that isn't actually theirs. I would understand that behavior from someone that says, no, this is my house, and you're trying to take it from me. I'm going to stay here until you understand that you cannot kick me out. You can't kick me out of my own house, and I will do whatever it takes to fight you on this. Defending what's yours and knowing what's yours, and somebody else trying to claim it like as if it's theirs, is one thing. But acting righteous and almighty, and if you have to like come up with, you got to park your car, hide it in the garage, hide it here and hide it there, so that the you can't get subpoenaed or whatever it is, and get taken out of someone else's home that you're trying to claim as your own. That right there is someone that is behaving self-righteous, like they're behaving like someone that actually owns a home, but they don't. And that happens in relationships. And I'm not talking about owning a home or anything like that. I'm talking about in relationships, like, I'm in charge here in this relationship. Oh, okay. So what you say goes? Well, I'll follow whatever you say goes when what you say goes in the right way for me. If what you say goes is not good for me, then what authority do you really think you have here in my home, in my body, in my space, in my heart, in my mind? So I don't care what authority you claim you have in my relationship to you. It will be respected when it's respectable. It will be acknowledged as truth when it is truth. It will be seen as the right thing to do when it's a sound idea, when it makes sense. But to think that I'm going to be bullied into just accepting what you say, just accepting what you claim, and then you're going to attack me for even challenging you. The fact that you can't even be challenged without retaliating in such a animalistic way shows that you're not the authority there. It really does. So maturity matters. Maturity matters. We have an Aries, or this is just putting focus or emphasis on yourself. We have a Sagittarius here. Maybe you're standing true with yourself and your beliefs. Your philosophy. Your even your profession. We have Aquarius in reverse here. So there's a group that's in reverse, or it's either an organization, an agency. I just heard how Doge, what Elon Musk is doing, the efficiency program. I just heard about that. They were talking about how Social Security, they just found, I forgot how many, it was a large amount of individuals supposedly over the up to the age of 112 collecting benefits. So it's clearly, fraud, and they've known that it's fraud for a long time, and the millions or billions of dollars that have gone towards these SSI payments of people that are not even here. So Social Security fraud right now is being exposed. It could be that, like, that kind of agency, Social Security fraud is being exposed. I mean, it could be anything other than that, but it's something like that, like a group that's in reverse. You might be standing on your, to me, the Sagittarius energy could simply be that you see the bigger picture. You're seeing the bigger picture of a certain group that's in reverse, or maybe just a bigger picture of organizations that are using malpractices, or they're not serving the people at all. We have a Libra here, so a lot of individual energies here: Aries, Libra, Sagittarius, and Aquarius. And then we have the Hall in reverse. So what I'm noticing is that you might just see the bigger picture of a certain group, and maybe even the relationship or the dynamic that they've, how they are relating, or how your relationship to some of these groups may have been, or maybe you're just now seeing how imbalanced things might have been. I feel like also it's giving like it was you against all these people, or all these, like you were either balancing out this, like a whole organization. It could even be a religious sect, or some kind of like spiritual belief or something. But this dynamic is being exposed. We have 8th house here in reverse. So it's like what was being kept secret is now being exposed. Like I said, we're getting insight into like these bigger, I think this is what the administration is currently trying to do, which is create transparency. There should be a certain level of transparency, and I get it. There's some agencies that have to keep things top secret, quiet, for protection. It's to protect individuals that need protecting, not to protect the agency from getting seen as doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. It's not the same, So maybe something like that, like using these popular terms of, or it's for the people, but it's for their protection. We're doing it to protect, but they're using something that's supposed to help us to their advantage, and they don't want that to be exposed. Now, this could be a group that you're dealing with on a personal, smaller level, at work, in your social groups, school, whatever. But I feel like you have worked on yourself, or you have balanced yourself, or you've analyzed yourself. You know yourself, so nobody can put the veil over your eyes about who you are. They can tell you all they want about who they think you are, but they don't know you. They don't know you the way they claim they do, I guess you could say. You've exited either a certain environment that had to do with maybe your spiritual beliefs. Maybe you were pegged into like a box of like maybe some people had you seen as like religious, or somebody saw you as, oh, this person is love and light, they're so corny, or oh, now this person is all religious, and they talk about it like like either you're fanatic or you're weird or you're, oh, they're brainwashed, or there they go, they're in some kind of cult. That kind of energy is what this group was doing, or criticizing or mocking or judging in some ways, okay? But their secrets are being exposed because they never reflected or returned to their home in a way. Now, this doesn't mean that if you've moved from your hometown and you don't want to go back, we're not talking about literally, people, like going, this person isn't going home. Let's talk about in the spiritual sense. This group didn't choose to go within, go into their heart space, go into their history, into their foundation. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are because they were never willing. They weren't willing to face or to return to some of those past pains, triggers that they were experiencing. We have a Leo here. So you may have balanced a Leo. You may have balanced out a dynamic with a Leo individual. Or a Leo individual is in harmony with you at this time. And I say that because it's underneath the Libra card, this Leo energy. It could also be that there is a dynamic with, because Leo represents the sun. So you're in balance with your happiness, with your individuality, with your source. We have Colonel Mustard in I was going to say in return. Interesting. Maybe there's a Virgo or Pisces. Actually, no, this is Virgo. Virgo that could be returning in some ways. Maybe, what do they call that? Coming around the block again to try to... And because they're in reverse, I'm getting like, maybe there's someone that's going to come around that wants to like criticize, or maybe just that energy is coming through, like, I'm watching you, but it's with a critical eye, and it's with this, but it's underneath this Hall in reverse, which is what this group, what's being exposed from this group. It's like they're being watched by a critical eye right now. They're being watched from the spirit. Yikes. Oh, look at that. So there was some kind of it was either miscommunication, or it's like the spiritual wisdom was not fully trickling into the body. And that could just be that the full message that Spirit provides us, sometimes we don't fully embrace it. Sometimes we don't fully receive it. Sometimes it's blocked. Sometimes it affects our physical body. But I'm feeling like those that, like this group that was unwilling to really dive deep into how they feel realistically, not the superficial ways. Those people that wanted to stay stuck in a certain environment, that benefited their negative emotions in some ways, that maybe even they had like a righteous energy of like, so it's like, okay, so like me as a parent with my children, yes, this is my house, right? I can say, do what I say because it's my house. And if I want to be a tyrant, I could be like, I don't give a shit what you feel. It's whatever I say. And if I want to be a demon, then I could be like, what I want is now selfishly going to be imposed on you. Go be my little slaves. Go be my little, go do my bidding. Listen to me even if everything I say goes against who you are. Do what I say even if it's harmful to you. That would be kind of like what this group is being exposed as, where they took their power and used it against those that they were supposed to protect. Okay? And the way that they did was emotionally manipulating the situation, like where I can say, this is my house and you're going to follow my rules because my peace is my priority in my home. And that benefits everyone, because if I allow one child to be reckless and ruin the peace of everyone else in the house, everyone else in the house is going to suffer the consequences of that one individual that cannot keep the peace. So, hey, this is the house. I am in charge here. Why? Because I can keep the peace. I can enforce the peace. I can ensure that everyone else feels peace. And if you cannot be at peace here, we're not going to harm you. We're not going to destroy you. We're not going to, make you feel like crap. We're just going to say, hey, here are your things. Take it. And you can go be no peace over there. Find your own place to do all that you're doing out of peace. Got it? And it's that simple. It's not conform or die. It's not do or die. It's, this is how it is here. If you don't like it, don't be here. Go over there. But now that's where the problem is. They can't over there do what they have to do because somehow they don't have the peace to do it. They need to be in your space. So this is what's definitely being exposed. Again, we have Colonel Mustard. This is a Pisces in reverse. You're able to see what they were hiding from a spiritual level, and that's what they don't like. On the spiritual level, like, it doesn't lie, okay? And yes, it can be confusing to the undiscerning eye, or the person that is unexperienced or inexperienced. But it's there. It's visible when you understand it. It's visible when their inability to clarify, their inability to produce what needs to be seen so that the full picture can be seen. So this is like when you look at everything going on in the news and you see, like, they're not willing to produce the documents, they're coming up with all these excuses to buy time. Like, we see through all these tactics. This is like in Hollywood. The main story right now is the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. They throw that in your face. It's like, okay, we don't really give a shit about the lawsuit that she's bringing on when we don't have the facts. And we don't really care about these people. But if we're looking at it from a perspective of what's right and wrong in the world, who is right or wrong, like checking the quote-unquote morality of our people, you'll realize how many people are full of crap and are going to just go with one side or the other without knowing anything. And at the end of the day, you can't even make a true judgment on a matter without all the facts. And that's what's going on here. Facts are being exposed. Everything that was, whoever has receipts is exposing their receipts. And it should be that way. I don't know how long I've listened to Cover Your Ass or Keep It Simple, Stupid. All these little things that were taught to basically protect your interests, protect your freedom, protect you from getting involved in messes that other people create. I feel like this group, there was no love there. There was no love. There was just using, maybe perhaps your wanting to help, or you're wanting to participate, or your love for the purpose, or your love for the goal, or like your enthusiasm for it. Like your enthusiasm for it. They used it to their benefit. And that's fine. When you see it, it's like these people never had a home, or these people never had a mother, or these people never had real love, or these people never knew real love. The only people that can do that is somebody that's really emotionally damaged. So we don't care to sit when it's like, oh, that's what it was. Oh, okay, all right then. That's all it is. So you can say what it is. You can speak it out. You're not afraid to say it because you're not, unlike them, you're not there to judge them. You're not there to criticize them. You're not there to mock them. You're not there to make them feel bad or to make them feel unworthy. You're trying to help them make peace with who they are. You're trying to help them be okay with their differences. You're trying to help them be okay with being honest about how you feel. There's no judgment here. There's no, say everything you need to say. Just say it. But clear it. Be clear. Clear the air. Produce what needs to be produced. Show what needs to be produced. Show integrity. Be honest in your dealings. Like, everyone could live so much in such a beautiful way, our society, because as you see, everything is intricately woven. Everything. You can't get out of it. Everything is linked to everything, and everyone is linked to everyone in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, through your banking system, through your education, through your interrelationships, and social and civic systems. We're all somehow, like, what was it yesterday? Oh, something about the cities. All the cities look the same. I've traveled through many cities. They all and it's like they have their own unique little twist to it, but all cities look rather the same. All downtowns look the same. All suburbs look the same. Like, you can be in Texas, Florida, New York, anywhere, California, and the land is different. That's the only difference. The water is different. The land is different. You have mountains in California that you don't have in Florida. You have swamps in Florida that you don't see in New York. You have skyscrapers and amazing buildings in New York that you don't see in Florida. And even though we all have cities, and we all have suburbs, and we all have, similar structures, they all function in the same way. They all function in the same way. So you can't say, they're so different over there and they're so different over here. No, we all experience, some people will think it's so different in Georgia. And yes, like the energy could be different. The way of life could be different. But again, the structures in terms of like having cities, like no one lives so differently from others, okay? And you only live in terms of what you can afford. So you're either going to live in poverty. It doesn't matter what state. There's always poverty in every state. There's wealth in every state. There's a medium ground everywhere. So, okay. So the reason that's coming through is for those that don't care to learn themselves, those that don't, because if they don't, these people cannot have values for themselves because they didn't have, or they never felt valued. But that's an internal job, folks. That's a perspective. We have a Gemini here. That's a mind thing. Like, At what point do you change your mind? At what point do you realize, like, okay, so that I grew up this way. For how many years are you going to blame that? Or, so you grew up this way, does that mean you never change? Well, this is how it's always been done. Okay, there's a difference with keeping up traditions, but when you keep outdated ways of thinking that are dysfunctional, they're just dysfunctional. Not communicating is a dysfunction. Having not being able to communicate honestly and openly without conflict. I think maybe that should be the number one thing kids are taught in school is a healthy debate, healthy arguments, healthy disagreements, healthy difference of opinion, healthy ways of communicating, healthy ways of looking at reality. But that's just one woman's opinion. So we have extracurricular activities, delays, and stalling in reverse. So perhaps you're being asked to engage more in extracurricular activities, okay? Try to find things, get creative with your activities. Find new things to do, new ways to do them. It could be as simple as a meal that you cook, make it more fun. Make a meal more fun. But I feel like doing that, the more you do that, the delays, stalling, waiting, and roadblocks are going to be removed, okay? I think it's going to kind of like propel a certain kind of energetic flow that's going to wash away a certain stagnancy, okay? I think that's all. I'll leave it at that, folks. I'll come back with another message soon. Take care.